To truly understand the power of release meditation, we must first acknowledge the invisible weight we carry every single day. We walk through our lives like travelers who have forgotten they are wearing heavy backpacks filled with stones. These stones are our regrets, our anxieties about a future that hasn't happened yet, the sharp words of a stranger from 3 years ago, and the crushing expectations we place upon our own shoulders. We have become so accustomed to the strain that we think the tension is just a part of who we are. But I am here to tell you that the tension is not you. The stress is not your identity. You were born to be fluid, light, and free, and the art of release meditation is the key that unlocks the heavy chains you've grown used to wearing. Think about the nature of a river. A river is powerful not because it fights the rocks in its path, but because it flows around them. It doesn't hold on to the bank it just passed. It constantly moves forward, releasing the past second to embrace the new one. Release meditation is the practice of becoming like that river. It is the conscious decision to stop gripping the things that no longer serve your growth. We often hold on to our pain because it feels familiar, and in a strange way, familiarity feels like safety. We hold on to anger because we think it protects us, and we hold on to fear because we think it keeps us alert. But in reality, these things are not shields, they are anchors. They keep us stuck in the same emotional harbor while the vast ocean of our potential waits just beyond the horizon. When you sit down to practice release meditation, you are making a radical declaration of self-love. You are saying to the universe, I am worthy of peace. The technique itself starts with the breath, but it is so much deeper than just inhaling and exhaling. It is about the transition between the two. Every time you exhale, you are literally practicing the act of letting go. You cannot take a new, life-giving breath until you have fully released the old one. Life works the same way. You cannot receive the new blessings, the new joy, or the new version of yourself until you have exhaled the old versions that are suffocating your spirit. The release technique involves a simple but profound mantra. As you breathe in, you acknowledge the tension, the thought, or the emotion. You don't judge it. You don't get mad at yourself for feeling it. You simply name it. And as you breathe out, you silently say the word release. Imagine that word acting like a golden key. With every repetition, a lock clicks open. At first, your mind will fight you. It will scream about the deadline you have tomorrow, or the argument you had this morning, or the mistake you made in high school. That's okay. The goal of release meditation isn't to have a blank mind, it's to have a non-attached mind. When a thought enters your awareness, you don't have to invite it to sit down for dinner. You don't have to follow it down a dark alley of what-ifs. You simply look at it, recognize it as a passing cloud, and say, release. You are retraining your brain to understand that you are the observer of your thoughts, not the victim of them. You are the sky, and the thoughts are just the weather. The weather changes, but the sky remains vast, open, and untouched. This practice is the ultimate tool for peak performance and emotional mastery. Why? Because most of our energy is leaked through the holes of holding on. We waste enormous amounts of mental and physical calories keeping old grievances alive and feeding our worries. When you master the art of releasing, you plug those leaks. You reclaim that energy. Imagine what you could accomplish if 100% of your focus was available for the present moment, rather than 40% being trapped in the past and 40% being held hostage by the future. You would be unstoppable. You would be more creative, more empathetic, and more resilient. Release meditation isn't about escaping reality. It's about clearing the fog so you can finally see reality and navigate it with grace. As you continue this practice, you will notice a physical shift. The tightness in your jaw begins to soften. The knot in your stomach starts to unravel. The heavy pressure in your chest lifts. This is the physiological evidence of your spirit returning to its natural state. We live in a world that tells us to grind, to hustle, and to take control. But there is a massive, untapped power in surrender. Surrender is not giving up. Surrender is letting go of the illusion that you can control everything. It is trusting that when you let go of what is passing, you make room for what is coming. It is the brave act of opening your hands. You cannot catch what life is trying to give you if your fists are tightly clenched around what you are afraid to lose. I want you to visualize your life as a grand theater. For too long, you have been sitting in the front row, reacting to every drama on the screen as if it were happening to you in real time. Release meditation moves you back into the projectionist's booth. You can see the film running, you can see the light and the shadows, but you are no longer swept away by the plot. You are in a place of calm, quiet authority. From this vantage point, you realize that you have the power to change the movie. You realize that you don't have to be a character in a tragedy. You can be the creator of a masterpiece. But that creation begins with the space you create through release. Every morning is an opportunity to empty the trash of the previous day. Every evening is an opportunity to set down the burdens of the daylight hours. Make this your ritual. Make this your non-negotiable sanctuary. When the world gets loud, go inward. When the pressure builds, breathe out. Use the release mantra until it becomes the background music of your soul. You are not a vessel meant to store pain. You are a channel meant to transmit light. But light cannot pass through a cluttered channel. Clean the pipes. Release the resentment. Release the should-haves. Release the could-haves. The version of you that exists on the other side of this practice is someone you haven't even met yet. They are lighter, faster, kinder, and more powerful than you can currently imagine. They don't carry the weight of the world because they know the world can carry itself. They move through life with a quiet confidence, knowing that no matter what happens, they have the tools to return to center. You have that same power within you right now, at this very second. It is as close as your next breath. So, take that breath. Feel the expansion in your lungs, and as you let it go, feel the freedom that comes with it. This is your life, and you are finally free to live it. Release and begin again. Release and rise. Release and become who you are always meant to be. To step further into this journey of release, we must look at the barriers we build within our own minds, the walls we construct out of someday, and if only. We often tell ourselves that we will finally relax, finally be happy, and finally let go once we achieve a certain goal or reach a specific milestone. But this is the ultimate trap of the human ego. It keeps us in a state of perpetual holding, waiting for a permission slip from the outside world to experience internal peace. Release meditation flips this script entirely. It teaches us that peace is not the destination at the end of the road. Peace is the very ground upon which we walk. When you engage in the technique of releasing, you are not waiting for life to get easier. You are choosing to let go of the internal resistance that makes life feel hard. Think of the energy it takes to hold a beach ball underwater. You can do it for a minute, maybe 5, but eventually your muscles ache and your focus narrows until the only thing in your universe is the struggle to keep that ball submerged. This is what we do with our suppressed emotions, our old traumas, and our daily frustrations. We spend 50% of our vital life force just trying to keep the uncomfortable stuff out of sight. Release meditation is the moment you simply take your hands off the ball. Yes, it might splash as it surfaces. Yes, it might be messy for a moment, but then it just floats. And suddenly, your hands are free. Your energy is yours again. You are no longer exhausted by the effort of hiding from yourself. This freedom allows you to tap into a level of intuition that most people never access. When your mind is cluttered with the debris of holding on, your inner voice is drowned out by the static. You can't hear the whispers of your own genius or the gentle nudges of your heart, because you are too busy listening to the loud, repetitive demands of your stress. By practicing the release of these mental anchors, you clear the line of communication with your highest self. You begin to notice that the solutions to your problems often appear the moment you stop obsessively gripping the problem. There is a profound paradox in the universe. We gain what we are willing to let go of. When we release our grip on how we think things should be, we finally become capable of seeing things as they are, and only then can we transform them. This isn't a passive state of being, it is a state of high-level readiness. A martial artist is most dangerous when they are relaxed, not when they are tense. A musician creates the most beautiful notes when their hands are fluid, not rigid. You, too, are at your most powerful when you are in a state of release. Let us speak specifically about the release of the false self. We all have a mask, a version of ourselves we've polished for the world to see. We hold on to this image of being the successful one, the strong one, or the one who has it all together. Maintaining this image is perhaps the heaviest burden of all. In release meditation, you practice letting go of the need to be perceived in a certain way. You breathe in the truth of your humanity, your flaws, your fears, your messy bits, and you breathe out the exhaustion of pretending. When you release the need for external validation, you become unshakable. If you don't need the world to tell you who you are, the world can't take your identity away from you. You become like a mountain. The storms of public opinion and social comparison may howl around your peak, but they cannot move you. You are grounded in the silence of your own released spirit. This is where true confidence is born. Not the loud, boastful confidence that covers up insecurity, but the quiet, deep-seated confidence of someone who has nothing to prove and nothing to hide. As you integrate these techniques into your daily life, you will start to see the relief point in every interaction. When someone cuts you off in traffic, instead of carrying that spark of anger for the next 3 hours, you catch it in the moment. You feel the heat rise, you acknowledge it, and you say release. You let the energy move through you rather than settling in you. Emotions are meant to be like waves. They rise, they crest, and they dissipate. They only become baggage when we build a dam and refuse to let the water flow. Release meditation is the act of breaking down those dams. It is the realization that you don't have to keep a record of every slight or a library of every failure. You can choose to be new every single morning. You can choose to leave the weight of yesterday at the foot of your bed and walk into the world with empty hands and a full heart. This is the secret of the world's most resilient people. They don't have fewer problems than you, they just have a faster release rate. They process, they learn, and they let go. I want you to consider the physical space you inhabit. Your body is a map of everything you haven't released. The tension in your shoulders is often the weight of responsibilities you weren't meant to carry alone. The tightness in your hips is often the storage unit for old fears. When you practice release meditation, you are performing a deep tissue massage on your soul. You are telling your nervous system that the war is over. You are signaling to your cells that they can stop being in fight or flight mode and start being in rest and repair mode. This has profound implications for your health, your longevity, and your vitality. You are literally breathing life back into the areas of your being that have been suffocated by stress. You are reclaiming your body as a temple of peace rather than a fortress of defense. Imagine the impact this has on your relationships. When you operate from a place of release, you stop projecting your past pains onto the people in your present. You stop looking at your partner, your children, or your friends through the lens of old betrayals or ancient disappointments. You see them clearly. You love them for who they are today, not for how they fit into the narrative of your past. By releasing your expectations of how others should act to make you feel secure, you give them the greatest gift possible, the freedom to be themselves. And in that freedom, true connection flourishes. A relationship where both people are practicing the art of release is a relationship that is constantly renewing itself, staying fresh and vibrant, rather than becoming stagnant and resentful. This is the path of the spiritual warrior. It is not an easy path, because our society rewards accumulation. Accumulating wealth, accumulating status, accumulating likes. But the warrior knows that true wealth is found in what you can do without. True status is found in the sovereignty of your own mind. And true fulfillment is found in the moments of stillness that exist between the breaths. Every time you choose to release, you are winning a battle against the chaos of the modern world. You are reclaiming your sovereignty. You are deciding that your inner environment is more important than your outer circumstances. You are choosing to be the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. To reach the final peak of this journey, we must address the most difficult thing any human being is ever asked to do. We must release our attachment to the story of who we think we are. We all have a narrative running in our heads, a story of the person who was hurt, the person who failed, or even the person who is not enough. We cling to these stories because they provide a sense of consistency. Even a painful identity can feel more comfortable than the void of the unknown. But release meditation asks you to step into that void. It invites you to consider that you are not the story. You are the infinite creative potential that exists before the story even begins. When you truly let go, you aren't losing yourself. You are finding the you that existed before the world told you who to be. This is the ultimate liberation. It is the realization that at any given moment, you are only one breath away from a completely different life. You are never stuck. You are only temporarily holding on. Think of the sheer exhaustion of carrying a grudge. Think of the mental real estate occupied by people you don't even like, or situations that ended years ago. When you refuse to release, you are essentially paying rent for ghosts to live in your mind. You are giving your power away to the past. Release meditation is the eviction notice. You are clearing out the shadows to make room for the sunlight of the present. And as you clear that space, you will find that a strange thing happens. Joy begins to bubble up for no reason at all. We often think we need a reason to be happy, a promotion, a compliment, a lucky break. But joy is actually the default state of the human spirit when it is not being suppressed by the weight of unreleased baggage. When you drop the stones, the balloon of your spirit naturally rises. You don't have to work to be happy, you just have to stop working so hard to stay heavy. This practice becomes your superpower in times of crisis. When the world seems to be falling apart, when the economy shifts, or when personal loss strikes, the person who knows how to release is the person who remains standing. While others are paralyzed by the shock of change, you are already flowing with it. You understand that change is just the universe's way of releasing the old to make way for the new. By practicing release daily, you develop a resilience muscle. You learn to process grief without letting it become your permanent residence. You learn to handle failure without letting it become your name. You become a master of the pivot. You realize that letting go is not a sign of weakness or defeat. It is the ultimate act of courage. It takes no effort to fall into a pit of despair, but it takes immense spiritual strength to open your hands and let the wind of change carry you to a new shore. Let us consider the concept of active release in your work and your passions. We often think that to be successful, we must grip our goals with white-knuckled intensity. We believe that if we stop worrying about the outcome won't happen. But the opposite is true. When you release your attachment to the result, you actually perform better. You enter the flow state where time disappears and your skills operate at their highest level. This is because you've removed the internal interference of fear. Fear is always about a future outcome. Release is always about the present process. When you release the fear of failing, you become free to succeed. You become free to take risks, to be bold, and to innovate. The greatest masterpieces in history were not created by people who were gripped by anxiety. They were created by people who were so lost in the act of creation that they released their very ego to the process. As you move forward from this moment, I want you to look at your life as a series of breaths. Each one is a gift, and each one demands to be released. You cannot hoard air, and you cannot hoard life. The more you try to grab and keep, the less you actually have. The more you give, the more you let flow, and the more you release, the more vibrant you become. Practice this in the small moments. When you finish a task, take a breath and release it before starting the next. When you walk through a doorway, imagine leaving the stress of the previous room behind you. When you lay your head on the pillow at night, consciously release every event of the day, the good and the bad. Don't carry Tuesday into Wednesday. Don't carry January into February. Be the person who is always beginning, always fresh, and always open. There is a profound beauty in an open hand. A closed fist can grab, but an open hand can receive. It can hold the hand of a friend, it can feel the rain, and it can be lifted in celebration. Release meditation is the practice of living with open hands. It is a way of saying to life, I trust you. It is a way of saying to yourself, I forgive you. And it is a way of saying to the world, I am here and I am light. You are not your mistakes. You are not your bank account. You are not the opinions of people who don't know your heart. You are the silence between the thoughts. You are the peace that surpasses all understanding. You are the sky. So, as we conclude this exploration, I challenge you to take one deep final breath. Fill your lungs until they can hold no more. Feel the tension of the fullness, and now let it go. Hear the sound of the air leaving your body. Feel the shoulders drop. Feel the mind settle. That feeling, that slight vibration of peace, is your true nature. That is who you are without the baggage. Carry that feeling with you. Guard it like the treasure it is. And remember, whenever the world tries to weigh you down, you have the ultimate weapon. You have the power to let it go. You have the power to release. Go forth now, not as a worker burdened by the world, but as a light illuminating it. Your journey doesn't start tomorrow, it starts with the very next exhale. Release the past, release the fear, and step into the magnificent, unburdened brilliance of your own life. You are free. You are whole. You are home.